Hi, my name is Sandra Bailey, and I am the founder and owner of Women Financial Power. I am also a business partner with Executive Strategies Group, LLC. We work with high net worth individuals, executives, business owners, professionals, and we also work with independent agents. Now, a little bit about myself before I get started. I have been in the insurance and financial services industry since 1980. Started with the Hartford Insurance Company, and this picture was taken in 1981. And that is me over there with my little afro. And here's me 39 years old with my big afro, just a little gray in it. People have called me a lifelong learner or student because in this industry there's always room for growth and to learn something new, because the financial and insurance services retirement planning is constantly changing, so we have to stay abreast of what's going on. So let's get to our goals here. So our firm, we seek to accomplish 3 goals with each client. We work with both individuals and groups. So our first goal is a retirement income plan. We want you to be able to replace the income you earn today to replace that while you're in retirement. A long-term care protection plan. The reality is that 70% of all people that reach age 65 will need long-term care in their lifetime. And that is a true fact. I mean, all of us know someone who's a caregiver or who needs long-term care. My grandmother needed long-term care for 8 years. My great aunt, my grandmother's youngest sister, only needed long-term care for probably 3 months. But anyway, a legacy plan to maximize the income from your qualified plan. Your qualified plan could be a 401k or 403b or 457. Any qualified plan, we want to help you maximize the income that's generated from that, from you accumulating all of that wealth. And to also leave a financial legacy to the ones you love, or charity, individual or charity. You would rather have your loved one or charity get the majority of the money than for it going towards the IRS or income taxes. So let's talk about the coronavirus. So this was taken August 27th of 2020. I got this picture from cdc.gov, and it just shows COVID-19 cases that's been reported in the United States. So March 1st of this year, I was at the airport headed to Australia, and I saw this USA Today paper, and I had to take a picture of it. And as you see, the paper says, stock shock, Dow has worst one-day dive. It was the largest drop since October 1987. So what did people do when the market dropped? They went to their banks and credit unions and started taking out big lump sums of withdrawals. And we all know that banks are insured by the FDIC. They're insured up to $250,000. But what you may not know is the FDIC reserve requirements. So for banks, they require 3 to 10% that they keep in reserve. But I don't know if you knew, annuity companies, which are insurance companies, they're required by law to reserve 100% of the amount of money you invest into their annuities, 100%. So then August 24th, what happened? Another article, stocks soar to record highs as coronavirus vaccine hopes build. So we have an up and down in the stock market. It's so unpredictable, right? So do you remember the lost decade? The lost decade was basically coined in Japan, but in the United States, the first decade of the 21st century, we had 2 enormous recessions prompted by these bursts. One was the dot-com bubble in 2000, and the second was the housing bubble in 2008. I personally remember the housing bubble in 2008, where a lot of people lost money. This was a period of time, they called it the lost years, because if you started in the market in 2000 and the market went up and down, you had all these up and downs and people was happy when it went up, and then it dropped again end of 2008 and started going back up. If you had $100,000 in the market here At the end of 2009, you still had $100,000. So it basically took about to 2013 for the economy to start rebounding. So that's why it was called the lost years. So during the Great Depression, you had the stock market crash of 1929. It was the bleakest point of the Great Depression. About a quarter of the US workforce was unemployed. You had people, their hours were cut or they were reduced, or people started working part-time. Even the upper middle class professionals saw their income drop by more than 40%. The newspaper article, just like this year, Wall Street in panic as stocks crash. That was in 1929. So the average American family lived by the Depression era motto: use it up, wear it out, make do, or do without. And it's just crazy because we know what happened this year when the stock market crashed and coronavirus hit. People were buying up toilet paper all over the place. So if you had money, you still couldn't go buy any toilet paper because it wasn't there. Somebody was hoarding it and buying it up. I bought Lysol before I went to Australia. So I was lucky when I came back, I still had some Lysol, but it's tough to get it now. You got to get up early in the morning and go to the stores, or you have to order it online. A lot of things that we took for granted, we can't get it. It's not in stock now. It's just crazy. But during that time, 60% of banks went under during the Great Depression. 40% never opened their doors again. But that never happened to any insurance companies. Not one legal reserve insurance company went under during the Great Depression. Something to keep in mind. So let's look at what Babe Ruth did during the Great Depression. Babe Ruth, he had this great career, but his agent was worried about his money management. So his agent introduced Babe Ruth to an insurance agent from the Equitable Insurance Company. They're now called Equitable, AXA Equitable, which we represent them. So from 1923 to 1929, Babe Ruth contributed more than half of his salary annually, purchasing between $35,000 to $50,000 worth of annuities each year. So when the Great Depression hit hard, October 1929, Babe Ruth was forced to retire from baseball in 1935. He had health concerns, right? He was unemployed during that time in history. His human capital went down as he couldn't play ball anymore, but the capital he was able to save rose, and he was able to give himself an income because he had an income annuity. It's reported that he received an income of $17,500 a year, which would translate to an annual salary of more than $290,000 in today's salary. Babe Ruth was so impressed by his annuities that he ended up purchasing his wife one. Now today you can get a single annuity, you can get a joint annuity, or you can do like Babe Ruth and just buy two. So what happened today, in today's time? So it says, what does Bernie Madoff, baseball, and annuities have in common? Bobby Bonelli Day. And I'm going to try to get through this really quick because I'm trying to make this only 20 minutes. But Bobby Bonelli played baseball for the Mets, right? And it got to the point that he wasn't a good player. They said that at one game, he sit in the back room and he played cards all day. So he needed to leave and the Mets needed to pay him off. So they were going to pay him $5.9 million. But instead of him getting the $5.9 million at one lump sum, he just said, guarantee me a yearly income of $1.19 million until I'm 70 years old. So they agreed to that because at that time, the annuity gave them an interest rate of 8%. So they was like, cool, this is good. So we'll pay Bobby Bonelli $1.1 million. And if you think about it, he would get $30 million if he continued to get that annuity until age 70. And he still gets that today. So 8 years after Bonelli's deal, the Mets invested in Barney Madoff. They figured they could make more money with Madoff than they would with the annuities. So they invested all of this money with Madoff. And of course, in 2008 and 2009, Madoff pleaded guilty to this Ponzi scheme. He had estimated $20 billion that he had stole from these investors. And of course, the players sued the Mets for the money. But guess what? Bonelli was still getting his $1.19 million annuity payment. So what does it say? Crime doesn't pay, but successful annuity contracts do. I messed that up. Crime doesn't pay, but successful contracts with annuities do. So basically, people say, well, he could have invested that money. So it says if Benelli had the lump sum of 5.9 million in 2000 and he invested it in the S&P index, it would have been worth about 8.8 million in 2015. But instead, he'll get 29.8 million, almost $30 million by the time he reaches 70. I think he made a really good deal getting the annuity versus the lump sum. So the next thing we'll look at is the marginal tax rates. So basically, this shows the tax bracket. So taxes shot up from 25% to 63% after the 1929 crash. And basically, during the Reagan years, the tax rates were up to 90%, which is crazy. So this is the highest tax rate. This is the lowest tax rate. So basically, right now, we're in like the lowest marginal tax rate. So some people talk about doing Roth conversions because the tax rate is so low, but that'll be up to you. And we'll talk about that a little later. So what did the Fed, how did they respond to this? The Federal Reserve made emergency interest rate cuts to as low as 0.25%. That was the largest emergency reduction in the Fed's more than 100-year history. They just believed that lowering the rates would be better for the economy, of course. But when you lower the rates, it takes a really tough time to get those rates back up. So the impact of losses on your money. So let's look at if you had $100,000 that you started with. And let's just use 35% because in 2008, the market dropped 38%. So if you had $100,000 and you lost 35%, you got $65,000. You would have to make almost 54% increase to get even again. That's a lot. I'm not going to go into detail because it's going to take too much time. So things you can do to protect yourself. And we're going to go over all of these different things and ways that you can protect yourself from the coronavirus pandemic. So the first one is a private IRA. You can fund your own private IRA. You can do a traditional IRA. You can do a Roth IRA. These IRAs, you can reduce your advisory fees by the percentage you place in the IRA, because with these IRAs, you pay 0 advisory commission fees. And you guys, I just found out earlier, a friend of mine got charged 30% commission fee off of the money he invested. So that's a lot. But with these private IRAs, you pay no advisory commission fees at all. You get gains in the market when the market goes up, but when the market goes down, you don't lose anything. So you have no market risk. Your growth is tax deferred. If you do a rollover or you start it, you can start it non-qualified. So your growth could be tax deferred. Some of these plans have built-in long-term care insurance. So if you were Babe Ruth and you were getting $290,000 a year, but you needed long-term care or you couldn't do 2 of the 6 activities of daily living, then your premium would double. Instead of getting $290, you would get $580 in your plan. And so that's huge. You know, you want to leverage your money. Some people will say, well, you can pay for your own long-term care. Why pay for it out of your pocket when you can transfer that risk and get more money for the insurance company to help pay for it? Yeah, this is going pretty quick. I have other seminars that will talk about it more in detail. The power of indexing. The red line is the stock market. The blue line is getting a steady interest rate, like a multi-year guaranteed annuity. And then the green line is an indexed annuity or an index in a universal life plan. So when the market goes up, you make money. When the market goes down, you stay flat. So in 2008, when the market dropped, you would have stayed flat and not lost 1 dime or 1 penny of your money. So you can get MYGA or CD. A MYGA is a multi-year guaranteed annuity, or a bank CD, a certificate of deposit or a certificate of depreciation, whichever one you want to call it. So with the bank CD, it's a short term. The main thing on it, your interest is taxed, even though income is not taken out. So if you have a bank CD, you will get a 1099 every year. Okay, that's one of the main things. With the MIGA, a multi-year guarantee annuity, is for a short period of time as well, but your money is tax deferred until you withdraw it. That's one of the main differences here. The rule of 100. The rule of 100 basically says you would take your age and subtract it by 100, and that's the amount of money that you should safely have in the stock market. So if you were 60 years old, this example would show 100, subtract your age of 60, then you would have 40% in stocks in your portfolio. So you just don't want to have more than that. A new rule is the rule of 100, but I'm sticking with the rule of, the rule of 120, but I'm sticking with the rule of 100. Buy and hold may not be the best strategy. So this is like the slide when we talked about the lost decade. Can you afford to have 13-year period with no return on your investment if you were in retirement? How would that look in retirement and you didn't make any money? So if you kept your money in the market, you have a 4% rule. So if you didn't make any money and you have the 4% rule, so then what would happen? So basically the 4% rule says, if you have $1 million when you retire in your qualified money, you can take out 4% safely, and it may last for 25 years. It may last for 25 years. But the rule also says in the time where the market goes down, so if you have a market big reduction or a market crash or whatever, you can't safely take 4% out. You may have to take 2% out or 1.5%. So you may need other buckets of money to choose from. So if the market goes down really bad this year, then you may need to take money from another bucket. But you can't keep taking 4% out of your money in a down year because you're going to run out of money sooner than you think. So let's look at being in the market. If you're in the market, you have passive investing. That's like your 401k, your 403b. So you're going to get 100% of the gains, and you're going to take 100% of the losses, and you're going to have an annual fee. So your fee could run from 0.5 to 2%. We're just using 1% here. So if you had $1 million and you lost money in 2008 and you had made money in 2009, then you're only down by 231,000, but now your $1 million is down to 768,000. So you may not be able to take that 4%, or if you do, you're not going to be getting 40,000. You're going to be getting a lot less than 40,000 that year. So let's look at not being in the market. So if you're not in the market, you can have growth with safety. You can have market upside with no downside at all. Your principals and your gains are protected. You have no annual fee, or there's some plans that have a 0.95 or 1% fee. I haven't seen any with anything above that. And when we talk, I can discuss what those are. Your time horizon is usually 7 to 10 years. That's not a long period of time because you're in a 401k for a lot longer than that. And you can earn from 4 to 7% on your money. And the last thing, your options for guaranteed income. You can turn on the income and get income for the rest of your life and never have to worry about running out of money again. You can run out of your money, but you will never run out of income when you get income that is guaranteed. The only company that can offer this is an insurance company. They can offer you a guarantee. So we're talking here with rollovers is annuity. You can invest in an annuity, but your hard-earned money will not be invested in the market. I'm not going to go over all of these, but you do get guarantees. You do get tax deferred. I mean, there's a lot that you can do with an annuity. Okay. So the next remedy is a Roth conversion ladder. So the way this works, I'm going to go back real quickly, we're on 19 minutes. So you contribute money to your pre-tax retirement account while you are working, during your working years. And you contribute it to a pre-tax account to reduce your taxes. You may have an account like a 401k, a 403b, 457, SEP RA, Simple RA, all those pre-tax accounts, you're contributing money. Once you retire, or when you're 59 and a half, you can start rolling over money. Most companies will let you do it. There are a few companies that will not let you do an in-service distribution, but some companies will. So you can roll money over and transfer your employer's retirement account to your IRA account. All right. Then you convert your traditional IRA to a Roth IRA. All right. You have to wait 5 years before you touch the converted money. Then you can draw the money, income tax and penalty free, and you can enjoy all the money. Now that's simple, but when you convert it, you have to pay taxes on it. So we can talk about ways to minimize the taxes, but that's how a Roth conversion ladder works. You're going to review your total monthly spendings. You're going to begin to spend less immediately right now, and you're going to pay yourself first. And one thing I'll say here is really think hard before using your qualified money to pay off a mortgage. You will be taxed tremendously if you do that. You may want to try downsizing to reduce your mortgage, but you really don't want to try to use it to pay your mortgage off. So another plan that you can do is implement a non-qualified plan with cash value life insurance. It's a Rule 7702 plan. Now, people call it the Rule 7702 plan because it's an IRS rule. And so a lot of financial advisors call it the 7702 plan because all the plans have a number, right? 401k, 403b. So they're calling the cash value life insurance Rule 7702. But it's a non-qualified retirement plan, and you can generate income tax free. You have people like Walt Disney, J.C. Penney. You have a lot of bank executives that use these plans. And so Walt Disney and J.C. Penney during the Great Depression, when the banks closed, when everything was in turmoil, they got money from their cash value life insurance policy to keep their business going. So what you have to realize about life insurance, you can use it for retirement plan. You can use it to fund your children's college with it. You can put in monthly payments, annual payments. You can put in a single investment payment in a life insurance plan and let it accumulate wealth. The non-qualified plan is best for people who are under 60, unless you've got a huge amount that you want to contribute. And I'll talk about that in a little second. So here is an article. It says life insurance, a top funding vehicle in executive compensation plans. So if you look here, they've got what type of funding vehicle that is used, right? What do you use to fund your plan? So this is a non-qualified deferred comp. That's a defined benefit, supplement employee retirement plan. It says COLI. People are using COLI 73 to 82% of the time more than this. So COLI, I'm sorry, what is COLI? COLI is corporate owned life insurance. Corporate or company owned life insurance. So there's COLIs and there's BOLIs. BOLIs are bank owned life insurance. So these plans are used to fund these retirement plans more than mutual funds, bonds, stock, and individual investment accounts. That is just crazy, right? So then it says cash value life insurance makes Harbaugh college football's top coach. And it says, what most people don't know, however, is that the compensation strategy was designed to provide Harbaugh with millions of dollars of tax-free cash during his retirement, is one that can also be incredibly effective on a much smaller scale. So you may not make, or I don't either, make the money that Coach Harbaugh makes, but it can be done on a much smaller scale. And if you want to see how it works, just give me a call. So Forbes magazine wrote this article, and I thought it was just so cool because Ford put an article in how to use life insurance in your retirement planning. And what I liked that this article back in 2017, it said the little black book of billionaire secrets. So I have a whole PowerPoint presentation on this. So if you're interested, just let me know. So what you do next, you set an appointment with us today. You go to the website, womenfinancialpower.com. You see the contact us link. Click on there and you can set an appointment and get on our calendar. You can call this number here or send a text message, or you can email to set an appointment. We work in the United States. We're contracted in almost all of the states, and we can meet via Zoom or Teams video calls. So don't wait, contact us today for information on coronavirus coronavirus pandemic approaches. And here's some other information about us. Um, I got so many different names because before I started all this, I didn't know you should use the same name. But my Twitter and Instagram is at Sandra WFP, that's Sandra Women Financial Power. Please go to our Facebook page and like our Facebook page. And this is my LinkedIn page. You can find me on LinkedIn or email me here at these two email addresses. So thank you so much. And I am excited that you were able to watch the recording.